Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 180. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined, as always, by Andrea. How's it going?
Good. Good to finally see you after a little bit of a break from our regular podcast.
I know, and it was almost looking like it wasn't going to happen tonight either.
I know.
Tech problems, but Alan's getting it all sorted for us, so...
Yeah, we're just determined to relive our early days of technical issues. We're really getting hit hard with that nostalgia for our first couple of shows, I guess.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things, so many breaking points, you know. So, but yeah, we'll get right into it tonight. We're gonna have an episode that's primarily focused on Daredevil. So the new show, Daredevil Born Again, is coming out next week. So seemed like a good time to just revisit Daredevil stuff and maybe see if we're looking forward to that or not, or what's to be expected there. And then before that, we got, I don't know, probably keep the news light. We'll talk about our weeks a little bit. And then drink holidays to start it all off.
Sounds good. Yeah, we've got quite the running list. As I mentioned, we haven't done the regular podcast in a little bit. So reaching all the way back to January 25th, a month ago, it was Irish Coffee Day. Probably a good day then, not so much now for an Irish coffee, seeing as it's a beautiful 50 degrees in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
That is not what I am celebrating, but it was probably good to do that then. January 31st, Brandy Alexander Day. Moving right on into February, the 1st of February, International Scotch Day. I don't know why I can't do that without sounding like Sean Connery, but here we are. Following that, February 2nd was Pisco Sour Day, which is, again, I look at this every year because I have to remind myself, is a type of brandy
Yeah.
that's
From Peru.
yes. And it's a little bit different. Like the sour part of the drink is actually like a deep bitter sour. Like the
Mm,
way that they make the sours for that. We do a lot of like sours in the US. I feel like that have a lot of sugar to take a bit of the edge off, but
sure.
this one specifically paired with the brandy is supposed to go for bite. So, kind of want to try it someday.
Yeah.
Holiday, but not necessarily a drink holiday, but usually a drinking holiday. The Super Bowl was February 9th, was Super Bowl Sunday. I really didn't, get crazy because it kind of wasn't a crazy game. It was one of those like, getting steamrolled. I can see the end of this coming from the first quarter. So yeah,
Yeah.
nothing too exciting to lift your glass for, especially if you were a Chiefs fan. Um, but yeah, that was early February, moving right along. Another holiday, Valentine's Day. Chris and I did celebrate with a cute, pink drink
Okay.
that I had made a twist on a French 75 using some rosé,
Okay.
which was fun, a good drink. And then February 18th, just a couple of days ago, or just a week ago, gosh, National Drink Wine Day. And then I kind of like this holiday, which was just a couple of days ago on February 22nd, Open That Bottle Night. So it's
Yeah.
basically just a reminder of like, hey, you saving something, you know, don't save it forever. Like make sure you actually open it, enjoy it, whatever it is you're looking forward to. So do
Yep.
it that day or like pick a day, but like set a date. Enjoy, the finer things in life.
Yeah. See, we
So
gotta know when it's coming up though. We gotta know when that's about to happen so I can
true.
prepare for that and like not miss it. Because 22nd, I missed it. I gotta wait another year.
Oh man. Well, now you know you got to put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
Uh Chris, actually, I am celebrating that day as well as I'm double
Oh,
dipping. I'm celebrating
okay.
that day and International Scotch Day because Chris got a bottle as a present from his Secret Santa and he happened to open it. He's like, oh man, it's been a while. I should really, drink this gift, And I was like, I just put this in the show notes. You're not going to believe it's Open That Bottle Night. He was like, I'm genius. I'm perfect.
Must do it
So
then. Yeah.
yes. So yeah, so now
Cool.
I'm nipping a little bit of his Christmas present for my own drink, just doing it neat because that feels like a very Daredevil the TV show kind of drink.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Except it'd
So
be the cheap
cheers.
stuff.
It would be the cheap stuff. I mean, I don't want to say anything about the bottle. I have no idea how expensive or not, but
Sure.
it's a
Yeah.
Secret Santa present, so you can assume it's probably double digits, not triples or
Sure.
anything
Yep.
crazy, or even into the higher end.
Yep. Cool. Very nice. I'm not really celebrating anything specific here, unfortunately. I was trying to make a red drink of
Oh,
which this
sure.
has redness, but really,
Red tin.
yeah, my maraschino cherries are like legit, so it's not like that candy bright red.
Sure.
Uh, some of that.
No, here, I've got you. You're more of the Daredevil TV show than the director's cut movie than we are going to explore. Because
Oh yeah.
really, like the suit here is like that kind of like brown red, whereas
Mhm.
the movie it's like candy apple. Although I'm well, not quite. At least it is in the promos, but it's a
Yeah.
little bit brighter, a little more, sugar candy pop
Yeah. Absolutely.
aesthetic.
But this is like so this is rye, um, and so a rye whiskey and
Okay.
maraschino cherries and oh my god, I'm forgetting already what I put in there. It's topped up with Sprite, and then
Okay.
shoot. Maybe I'll think of it. I should have brought the bottles up here or something. I made it so long. At this point, I made it over an hour ago, and I sort of, oh yeah, I did go off of. I based it on something, so
Man,
that's
I really thought you were gonna be describing a Manhattan rye whiskey, maraschino cherries.
mm,
Like I was waiting, for the bitters. I was waiting, but no. Then you threw me the curveball with the Sprite in there.
yeah. No, so the drink is supposed to be like bourbon, Amaro, cherry hearing, maraschino, rhubarb bitters,
Oh, okay.
and Luxardo cherries. So I
Oh,
basically
sure.
have that stuff, but I replaced the bourbon with rye and then topped up with Sprite. So
Okay.
otherwise, the rest is here.
Sure.
So just wanted it. They kind of warned it was like being pretty sweet, and I didn't want to. I thought, yeah, that could taste a little syrupy. So because I got my cherry hearing yet that we bought for something before, and
Right.
so still drinking
Penguin
through that. So it's like,
cocktails,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't. Yeah, maybe, but
I
it
think
was kind of
so.
spendy and it tastes good, so I wanted to use that. I thought, well, that red is going to work well. Get some Daredevil red, and yeah, so it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. So
Excellent.
yeah, okay. Well, those are our drinks. If you're enjoying a drink with us,
Cheers.
cheers. And just as a reminder for everybody, before we continue, we're live right now on YouTube, X, and Twitch. So make sure you follow us any of those places. That'd be appreciated. Okay, let's get into our weeks before we jump into Daredevil. What have you been watching over the last, I don't know, like 3 some weeks?
Daredevil.
Okay.
Because so last we had talked, I hadn't watched the third season, and I decided before watching the third season that I was going to rewatch the second, which was an undertaking because I forget how long
Yeah.
the episodes are, how dense they are, and how much you really have to pay attention. So so I have watched all of season 2, all of season 3 of Daredevil. I watched the director's cut movie, and then for some wildly different things to kind of take a break from the heaviness, um, I've started the first 2 episodes of Love is Blind, which is excellent because it's set in Minnesota. And there are a lot of like Minnesota references, even if they're like not, they don't seem like total Minnesota people. Like they're very conventionally attractive. They're like, dressed up. I don't know. It's not like they're not Minnesota people. They're just not like everyday people I pass on the street.
I
So,
mean,
they're
but they're
nice
not
and
going to pick
glamorized.
everyday people for the show, right?
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, it's Minnesota, but like, given a little glow up. Um, but it was hilarious because I timed it within the first 5 minutes. There was a reference and a celebration of being a member of my hometown's Costco. I was like, yes, yes, I'm here for this. This
That's
is what I'm
funny.
here for. So yeah, so I'm enjoying that. Um, and have actually talked about it with some family members who are also watching it for like the literal same reason. Um, Keeping in kind of a lighter vein, I watched the SNL 50th anniversary celebration / episode, which was a lot of fun. Has some new stuff, throwback and call out to some older gigs, a lot of celebrity cameos and appearances that really actually I thought worked quite well. They all seemed very fun and in the spirit of the night, and nothing felt too overdone or like too like, oh my god, another celebrity.
Hmm.
Just because you felt everybody was really happy to be there, they were just excited by the energy. So I thought it was really
Okay.
fun. And then I've also been starting Cobra Kai's like season 6, part 3 final episodes of the
Okay.
series. I think I wrote season 3, but I meant season 6, part 3,
Okay.
which I loved because I had talked about that a while back being a nice surprise. So That's been good so
Yeah.
far.
Okay. Nice. Well, that's plenty of variety, and yeah, that
Hmm.
that definitely had to take up a bunch of your time there, going through all that Daredevil again.
Yes. Yes. It was enjoyable, but it was a lot.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, the last year I went through, finished going through it all, but
Hmm.
that was basically season 3. I went through again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched the director's cut of Daredevil, but a few weeks back now, so you'll have it a little fresher in your head than me. Um, I managed to go see the Monkey, so maybe
Yes. I'm super pumped.
I'll say my thoughts on that for when you get to seeing that. We can maybe talk about the Monkey,
Hmm.
and yeah, been continuing Dune. Continuing Dune. I brought the books to show my progress here. The
Yes. Move that
shorter
bookmark.
side is to be read yet. So yeah,
Yeah. You're getting through it. Good job.
it's still very excellent. And then one other thing I wanted to bring up, just as a recommendation for parents out there, because it's my kid's new
Mm.
obsession, is
Yes.
Night Owl.
Oh my God. It's so cute.
Yes.
That's
So
adorable.
saw this in Target, and I was drawn to the art. Looked at it. It's cute, and yeah, the kids like it a lot. It's kind of
Oh
fun.
my
They
gosh.
say all the lines, or they try to say all the lines, and they know when it's coming. Um, and I won't spoil the excellent story, but it's
Cute. Did you know there's a second one?
there. I did. So after they loved this one so much,
Oh my God. I love it.
then we picked up the second one. So there's Night Owl and Early Bird is
Yes.
the next one. So
That is
presently,
so
this has been
cute.
in the closet while we read, and we read on repeat, Night Owl and Early Bird. So
Okay. Yep.
yeah,
That was us with Dragons Love Tacos and Dragons Love Tacos too. There was like
okay,
a back and forth where we would just intensely focus on
yeah,
one and then we'd switch to the other. So yeah.
yep. So for
Cute.
anyone
Yeah,
looking
definitely would
for,
love to check that out.
yeah. Okay, that's all we really need to get into there. Let's get into some Daredevil stuff. I don't know what all to say here, just other than, this has been the whole roller coaster thing going
Mhm.
on with the new Daredevil series, Daredevil Born Again. And
Mhm.
there was a good article from GQ over in the UK that interviewed Charlie Cox, and they
Yeah.
kind of talked about it was about him, his acting journey and stuff like that. But then also
Mhm.
just it kind of recapped the drama or the situation of what has become of the show.
Mhm.
And then now, just the other day, we had the premiere of the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. So they were in New
Yeah.
York
Yeah.
and had Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, and they lit up the Empire State Building in red.
Mhm.
So they both threw a switch and had that go to
Mhm.
red, and um, did some photo ops or whatever. And then they had their premiere, and a whole bunch of the cast was there, and yeah, I I don't know if this is different than other Disney Plus Marvel shows, but because maybe it's just me paying attention, but it feels like they're making a bigger deal of
Oh.
this one.
No, I think they are making a bigger deal of it. I mean, I think there was quite a bit of trumpeting and fanfare for WandaVision just because it was the first one.
Yeah.
You know
Yep,
what I
that sounds
mean?
right.
And then I feel like there was like a slower like there was still, premieres and things, but they just got, a little more pared down. Until I guess I don't know what protocol has been for kind of some of these middle shows here or
Yeah.
later. Um, but yeah. I feel like this is kind of a return to big for
Sure.
Daredevil, which I'm excited about. I am. I
Yeah.
mean, now I'm in the right mindset, for the premiere on Disney Plus next week. Um, I for a second when you said premiere, I was like, oh right, he means like a premiere screening. No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah. Yeah.
Daredevil. It's like what?
Yeah.
Oh my god! But no, March 4th.
Yeah.
March 4th. I can wait.
Yeah. They. I don't know what their regular thing is. I haven't been paying attention to it, but it also having this premiere screening um, for press and whatnot a week before seems
Hmm.
good because they're
Hmm.
going to get the word out there one way or
Yeah.
another. Um, the early word I've heard seems to be positive.
Yep.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah. I feel like they needed a little bit of this proving ground because they've had some of the stumbles, with shooting so much of it and everybody kind of coming to the collective decision that it was all bad and needed to be reworked. Obviously, there have been stumbling blocks to even get to a point of, shooting a season because when it was unceremoniously canceled by Netflix, we all thought, what is the fate of this? And it's been so long.
Mhm.
Can they really bring it back and bring it back well? So I think, yeah, having this early premiere screening was really both a test and a victory lap at the same time.
Yeah. I I think I don't know. I'm a little confused on if it happened in the first two episodes or not, but it sounds like there is something shocking that happens that is
Okay.
going to divide people. And
Okay.
they said, literally, the showrunner said, they said, like, it was the decision had already been made when we came on. It was kind of
Okay.
because the new people, they reworked what they could, reused what they could, and
Yes.
then did added on and fixed it, quote unquote.
Yes.
But there was stuff that had been done already, and
Hmm.
it's Charlie Cox himself has expressed, like, I don't know that we needed to do that. I don't know that it was the right decision,
Hmm.
but it's like, well, it's a bold decision. So,
Sure.
like, what is this? I don't know. My thought was, okay, they're gonna, like, because people have speculated about this before, like they're just gonna, sure, they're bringing back Foggy and Karen, but then they're
Yep.
just gonna kill them off, get rid of them, and, like,
Yeah.
so, like, we're moving on.
Yeah.
But if this was already done, I don't think they were supposed to be back at the time they were originally doing the
Right.
show. So that wouldn't
Right.
have been set in stone.
Right. Yes. So yeah, this is kind of part of the big swirling questions around the show and questions that I have because I've read a lot of articles recently about more so Foggy than Karen, speculating on his role. Because I know Eldon Henson has had a lot of shooting conflicts with this. And so some earlier articles were suggesting that he was back. The big thing was that Foggy got killed. And then uh, Eldon Henson is going to be returning in season 2 in like a flashback or a ghost or a, specter type figure, a haunting of Matt.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I gotta say, I am still kind of nervous about that because they seem really focused and specific on Foggy rather than Karen. So
Okay.
like you said, I feel like early on the speculation was about both of them joining, and now it seems to be more targeted. So I am worried
Okay.
about that because having rewatched season 2 and season 3, the three of their chemistry is just so integral to the show. It's really what makes season 3 work for me because there were some other points in which I think the show really slowed down and kind of plotted, but their relationship is what brought me back. So I'm nervous.
Yeah.
That's what I'm nervous about. Um
Okay.
yeah. I don't know this,
Yeah.
again, I haven't seen
Yeah.
anything. I don't know. It could
Hmm.
be, totally off. I know that Deborah Ann Wool is filming season 2 primarily. Like she's, I guess, dropped into season 1, but season 2 is where she's really picking up. So maybe this is, a fake out, some sort of red herring
Mhm.
distraction. And, Foggy's going to be in season 2 with Karen as normal, as regulars, but I don't know.
Okay. Hmm, hmm. Well, not long till we find out.
I
So,
know, just a week, but yeah,
mhm,
it's
mhm.
one of my big kind of fears for the show, I guess.
Yep. Okay, well, we shouldn't have fear. Daredevil is the man without fear after all.
True, I teed that up very nicely for you. Way to You smashed that softball though. You did.
We've got one version, and we have to pay respect to an older version that came to screen in 2003, starring Ben Affleck. So
Mhm.
Daredevil, the movie. Y- it- Okay, so I don't think I've seen this probably since the theater. Like maybe one more time, but otherwise I saw
Yeah.
this in the theater.
Yep.
Um, how about you? Same?
Same mostly. I probably, have caught it on TV, or I think Chris and I sat down to watch it at one point. Um, or maybe I've, done like a funny drinking game kind of watch of it in college. So
Okay.
it's kind of like, I've watched it here and there, but it's not anything I'd seen in years prior to this.
Yeah. It got a lot of like when it came out, I don't remember people disliking it all that much. I feel like people at least I did generally received it pretty well.
Yeah.
It just quickly got put to the bottom of the pecking order when it came to the superhero movies coming out.
Hmm.
When you had stuff like Blade and X-Men and then Spider-Man,
Hmm.
it just those things rocketed to the top.
Yeah.
And this just became like, oh well, it's another one, and it's okay,
Hmm.
but it's not Spider-Man. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, when this first came out, I think was in the camp of receiving it well-ish. Definitely saw some struggles in the movie, but I think overall I kind of just bought into it and felt like it was all right. I think there were some really great casting decisions, and
Okay.
the pieces of really good storylines that carried me through. And watching it now, I can definitely see the gaps. I can see a little bit more clearly the gaps in storytelling, especially when you think about like the regular versus director's cut. There are
Mm,
more jumps in logic that you just kind of have to assume. There's less relationship building. Um, so yeah, I think I can see the flaws with clearer eyes, but not necessarily harsher ones
okay.
now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I what I appreciate about this movie is it definitely transported me back to like early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
It was a
Oh,
time
oh
machine.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, you are correct, sir. It is very
I
dated.
you commented to me about the music or something, and I think I have it here too
Yes.
because it kept building. Like in my comments here, oh, good Seether song, and then I feel like I added, like more. It was just like, yes, it
Yes.
is meeting that tone. You know,
Angsty rock jams.
hmm
Yes. Yep. That was
I liked it.
absolutely, yeah, my era for sure.
Yeah, it's
So,
just like it's like this movie. If you were gonna watch this and Underworld,
yeah,
like that kind of thing. It
absolutely.
just
Yep.
it I don't know if it comes from I don't know what that is exactly. It's like a time where you're trying really hard to sell to your audience that you're cool,
Mm-hmm.
but what started that? Did it just feel like the music, it just was born out of that music of the time? Or, in 1999, okay, so Alan just put it, I was just saying, 1999, The Matrix came out. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, nerds were in full length black trench coats, just
Yes.
casual wear. And
As
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 you
Colin
do.
Farrell stands here in his own billowy trench
Yes,
coat.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. And then, but either way, yeah, it definitely
I mean, yeah,
transported me, and I had fun with it.
and Matrix had I think a little bit heavier, you know, there in like Daredevil and Underworld, it was still rock, but it was like had an undercurrent of a semi poppy beat that you could, you know what I mean? There was
Yes.
a little bit more melody going on, there was a little bit more beat, there was a little bit more like softening. And Matrix, I mean, that's where I first discovered Rob Zombie. That's not
Mm,
like, hey mom, I'm just gonna, play some Rob Zombie and we're gonna play that on the car radio during our trip and you can stand to listen to it for more than 2 seconds.
mhm.
But see there you could kind of roll with, and they had some ballady stuff too, a lot of angsty jams that I think were more radio friendly.
See, but The Matrix is, I would classify that as authentic. It feels authentic.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
mean, yeah, I don't think it's trying too hard. Whereas I think in some of these there is an element of, like you said, a little bit of trying to be
yeah,
cool, trying to be angsty and serious,
yeah,
but also more mainstream.
yep.
It works and it
You-
doesn't. It's very nostalgic now. It's a it's
yes.
it's a huge like callback signal to millennials everywhere that
Hmm.
this was ours for sure. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, this Daredevil is very after the authenticity, but it doesn't get there. It's too
Yeah.
pretty candy poppy.
Hmm. Hmm. Alan says Blade maybe in 1998. See, that's
Ah,
that's
Blade
that's a
is
year
so good.
before The Matrix. So,
Blade is
um,
so good. Oof.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what created that. I'll have to ask AI what created this aesthetic, and brought it
Yeah.
to popularity. But that was fun. I could not stand. So one thing is always like, when it's always a big deal with superhero movie or show or whatever. What's the suit gonna look like? Like Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You start in like the 60s, and it's, yeah, it's like spandex and kind of bright. And you go into Tim Burton, and it's like rubber latex, hard to move, but very like, you know,
The nipples. Ah.
yep, we move in the nipples. Um, to then getting more like, let's get more tactical as it moves, all this sort of,
Yeah.
it changes. So it's a big deal. Like Daredevil. So we really had just seen Ben Affleck in this, to compare Charlie Cox's Daredevil to later.
Mhm.
What do you think of the suit?
The suits, I think overall not bad. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's pretty simplistic, and it's not far off from the evolution of Charlie Cox's suit. You know what I mean? There's no like super wild differences
Yeah,
in
well, this
in the
one
in
feels
the
more
essence
skin
of it.
tight,
Yes.
latexy sort of,
Yes. I
or
agree.
leather zip up one piece, something or
Yes,
another.
which again was very of the moment. But when you think about like the overall, suit itself, like there's no like weird frills, there's no like flashy
Yeah.
stuff, there's no like, the Daredevil mask isn't like this big comical type style thing. It's, a half helmet, which again is like Charlie Cox's. So, you know, honestly, the suit itself, I didn't have terribly many problems with. Um, I had problems more with the fact that Matt owned like 12 of them in this huge apartment with, fancy. sound bath kind of, cryo chamber. Like,
Yeah.
that was more my issue. That felt less realistic to me than just like the suit.
Yeah, where'd he get that? How did
Where'd he
that
get
come
that
into?
money in
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen? You know?
I assume to me we're more established Daredevil in this than we are in the Netflix series. Netflix series kind of takes us from square one. And
Yeah.
there's one of the things I dislike about it. Sort of, it's like, okay, I get it's cute. Like we're taking things and we're taking. I guess they did that too in this too, though. Like we can't just take payment in the form of like eggs or food from people or
Right?
whatever. So
Right?
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Got the fluke, the fish. It's a whole funny thing for Foggy. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. It felt a little weird that, even if you, like you say, could make a little bit of a leap that we are more established here as Daredevil. Yeah, it still felt pretty swanky to
Yeah.
have like hidden panel doorways hiding your suit where Charlie Cox is just like stuffing his in a trunk.
Yeah.
Could have maybe found some middle ground there.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the suit pretty well. I didn't like Matt's look. That was my be.
No,
I'm
God,
not a
no. Oh
fan of
no.
the glasses at all, and then the hair. I could
The
not get
hair.
over. It's
Oh,
sort of just like tinged
oh.
red. It's like they tried. I guess it's tinged red, but then it's just
It's like feathered and fluffed. Like
yeah. I
he
just
looks like a fluffy chicken, like a
yeah.
fluffy rooster head. Oh God, it's so terrible. It's so bad.
So
I
yeah.
mean, yes, it's borderline comical how honestly how bad he looks. And yeah, there's no real reason for it. I mean, you didn't, need to make
I
him
mean.
movie star handsome, but you didn't need him to be that kind of goofy either.
Matt is supposed to be handsome though, because he always gets the ladies. That's always the thing. It's like it's the
Yes.
Foggy does it in both this and the series. Like, how can you
Yep.
tell when they're babes?
Yes. Yes.
And
I did recently read a very funny article about how, Tony Stark gets the bad rap as a playboy, but really Matt Murdock is
yeah,
actually a playboy.
yep,
So he's got a
yep,
lot of girlfriends lined up. So
yep.
um yeah. So yeah, I mean, I again, I didn't need him to be perfect, but he probably should have, I mean, even this wet hair, for our viewers right here, this is
Yeah,
fine. I
yep.
could have taken that.
Just need a little product in there to
Yeah.
tame it a bit or something. Yeah.
Little cute tousling, like you just rolled out of bed and sure, we'll go
Hmm.
with that.
Hmm.
We did not, need the volume that his hair
Yeah.
had.
I mean, yeah. I think about it. Matt. He's got all the ladies lined up. They're like, I don't have to worry about my makeup today because he can't tell anyways. Perfect.
Hmm.
Pressure's
Yep.
off.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see. I forgot some of the people that I forgot that John Favreau was Foggy.
I
I
love,
forgot that what's his
he's
face was Ben Urich,
Yurik, yeah. Oh, Joe
Yeah.
Pantoliano. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about two of my favorite castings here. And part of the reason I think this movie works. Um, John Favreau is such like a great best buddy sidekick, sarcastic humor, very great foil to bounce jokes off of. And I appreciated watching the director's cut because we got more of him. We got more lawyering, which I
Okay.
think, looking back on the regular release, I didn't know that it was missing, but I could see it. I could see what I was missing here. It put the pieces together better and it developed the relationship and it set up Foggy, like some of the things that were echoed in the TV show, like Foggy doing things by himself, their relationship feeling strained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike is in the chat on YouTube. Thanks for jumping
Mike.
in here, Mike. He says Daredevil movie is the Nickelback of superhero movies. So would that be that it's
That's funny.
despised but really people like it. Like really, there's a lot of people that like it.
It's
Because
easy to
Nickelback
say you don't
charges a
like it.
yeah, it's easy. Right? Yes, it's easy to
It's cool
say.
to say you don't like it.
That's even better. It's cool to say it. It's a popular thing, but people do
I
like it.
I liked it. I admitted it back in middle school. I mean, I was a pariah for doing so, but I liked Nickelback. I still like some of their music.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
I
don't
think
think
it's
everything's a winner, but I, hardly think that of any band except for maybe one or two. So,
yeah. My sister sent me a video. I think it was a Nickelback video, and it's like, this is what it would sound like if you could only hear if the sound was realistic based on like where they're at, because they're always like falling, and so like the sound of the singer is like falls away as they're
oh,
going,
I get it,
and
I
then
get
like
it, I
as
get
it
it, I get
zooms
it.
close on one plateau, it's like you can
Sure,
hear the drummer, but then the camera moves away, and the drums are real quiet, and it's like that
that's
changes the
funny.
song. Yeah.
That's funny. That's good.
Mike says means that people liked it, but then it became cool to make fun of it. Yes, you're
Sure.
right. Yep. Yeah, because we talked earlier. Like I think that people did enjoy it when it came out. It just got moved to the bottom of the pecking order
Hmm.
when all this other stuff came out. So
Yeah, I enjoyed the rewatch, but yeah, like I said, I appreciated the director's cut because I didn't know what I was missing until I saw it. And
okay,
what I was missing was the background pieces. Like I said, the relationship building between Foggy, Matt, even more Karen, who I barely realized was in it. And um, like the actual case that they were trying really actually connected the pieces and the dots. So like when you figured it all out and it led to Kingpin, it was like, oh my God, that's so much more of a clear trail than our movie just sort of jumping and assuming and now we're gonna
sure,
go fight Michael Clark Duncan.
yeah,
Yeah. I didn't know, I didn't miss it while watching it, but watching it now, yes, this is better.
okay, okay. So one, Mike says he thinks that's Creed video, not Nickelback. Indistinguishable to
Oh,
me.
that
Um,
your
the
sister sent
sound
you?
thing. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sure, okay.
yep, yep. Could not tell you the difference between them. So, um, and
Blasphemy.
then, and
Chad
then,
Kroger is at least usually understandable.
okay. Let's see. And then, okay. So one, you brought up the director's cut. We did watch that version.
Yeah.
So one, I want to know, do you, do you always like the director's cut more of things, or are there situations where you're like, no, actually, the theatrical is better? And then we got to talk about Wilson Fisk, because Mike says Wilson Fisk was amazing, by the way, so intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my other prime reason I love this movie is that casting as well. Um, I haven't watched a lot of director versus theatrical releases, to be quite honest. I think I've liked of the two I'm immediately thinking of, I've liked the director's cut better for different reasons. Um, and then I'm also thinking it's not exactly a director's cut. I'm thinking of like extended
Extended,
editions. So
yeah,
I'm like,
right.
I'm
Mhm.
getting mixed up there. I'm trying to like keep Lord of the Rings out of it. Um, but yeah, the couple of things I've watched the director's cut of, I really liked. But this one, I think for Daredevil, it felt more integral. In
Integral,
oh boy,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, thank you. It felt more necessary because again, I didn't notice when I first watched this in theaters how much the movie jumped and assumed, but I really did when it was pointed out to me by watching
Okay,
this.
okay. Yeah, I couldn't. I saw this was in the theater, so I couldn't tell you what was different, and I didn't look it up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this version makes sense. So,
So much of the trial, um, you know, them doing their own investigating for their client that they take on, like
mhm.
Matt interacting with like the cop who has a pacemaker, so he couldn't like hear his heartbeat change to figure out when he was like all of this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like big pieces that have to come together to lead to Wilson Fisk. Where in the movie it's just like, oh, I somehow know he hired Bullseye to kill Elektra, and I'm gonna go after him now. Like, it's yeah.
See, I'm all for films not being 4.5 hours long. I'm all
I
for that.
agree.
But if you can add like 15 minutes and make things, like, and you're still under, like 240, I think,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
like, you do need to people do need to clean the things
yes.
up. Like, that's part of the
Yes.
art. Is you have cinema, to me, is that you are creating a condensed experience
Mhm.
that is 90 to max 3 hours long.
Mhm.
And if you can't do it in that, like,
Mhm.
you're in a different art form now.
Yeah.
You gotta whatever. So, um, I don't know. But here
Yeah.
it didn't seem offensive to have the extra footage here. It didn't make it
Yeah.
feel like, oh, it's extra long, and it wasn't like,
Well,
there's
yeah,
meaningful things cut.
it wasn't terribly long. It's I think 140 versus, 213. So a rough half hour is added. Not egregious, but I definitely would have cut other things had I been the editor.
Okay.
I think there were some extras and I think there was some streamlining you could do for other characters, background stories. The playground fight, which is one of the worst, most terrible fights I've ever seen. Could have cut that and had
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Electra,
I wrote in my
Electra and Matt.
during that part, man, Jennifer Garner, smoke show.
She
That's
is. She is, but they looked ridiculous in that playground fight. Everything was actually like very slow.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it was a
Yeah.
weird slow motion and you could tell it was them doing it, which like applause. But I think, then you needed to do some fancy camera work or something
Yeah.
to disguise like how very slow they were actually moving.
Mm.
Um Plus
That,
like
and then the
the
kid,
harness
what is
leaping,
the what?
like it's when they're on the seesaw and like he slams it down and she leaps and it's very like stylized, I'm
Oh,
leaping, and you could tell
okay. I
it's like one
got
of
you.
those like
Okay.
I'm in the
Yeah,
rig.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The fight scene when he's a kid and he's smacking him around with his
Oh, I
stick,
know.
that was also really
Yeah.
bad. That was really bad. We could have just
Yeah.
not had, I don't know what else we could do there. Something else.
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah, I did.
Mm.
I think the couple of things that I did take issue with, like on our reviewing, um, were the background story that we did get in the flashbacks. I loved his relationship with his father, like that storyline being the same. But I hated the post. I'm blind, and Hell's Kitchen is just going to be my playground. I'm going to learn to fight
Mm.
somehow. Big gap. He was just suddenly doing crazy things, that
Yeah.
just really didn't feel like you have no instruction, you have nobody teaching you
I
anything at
mean,
all.
some of the best guitarists are self-taught.
Yeah, maybe.
And see, he's the man without fear boy at that point. So like he is really experimenting with.
Yeah.
He like saw his dad fight, so he had like a visual representation,
It
and
would I
then
mean,
and then he was
it would have
kind of
been nice
working
though.
beside.
It would have
We're
been nice
missing
to see like
stick,
maybe
right?
yes. Yeah, or
We're
or
missing
somebody
stick.
even him hanging out at the gym and like people, being like, "Yeah, I'll teach you to throw a few punches and you can figure it out. There's basic form I could teach you,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know." And then at night he's like, "Oh yeah, kind of run around the city."
Yeah, because
But maybe
presumably his
doing like
dad didn't teach him, right? Because he
right.
really didn't
He
want
didn't
that
want
life
him
for
to.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he seemed fine when he was training to get back in shape to go back in the ring and Matt's like beside him kind of doing his,
Yeah.
cartwheels and I'm going to one-handed handstand on this building. Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know, it just felt like a little odd.
Yeah. It
I
was
did
elevated.
appreciate the stick element of the TV show at that point.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so yeah, we should talk a little bit about Wilson Fisk.
Mhm.
I think that so Mike's right, agrees, intimidating. Um, you know, he's they
He's
go
got
for
the
like, okay,
stature.
how can we make Michael Clark Duncan look the part as much as he can, and then they went that route pretty much.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, stature is there, intimidation factor. I didn't buy him as being like a crime genius. They didn't write
No.
that kind of thing for him.
No.
Um, but I remember in theater being, scared of him or whatever, and that works.
Yeah, I mean, his story is pretty bare bones, you know? You don't buy him as a criminal kingpin because they never show him as a criminal kingpin.
Right.
There's no plot. He's not doing anything other than trying to not be detected.
Right.
So his main goal is like, okay, everybody's catching on that there's like a crime kingpin, gonna lay a false trail for my friend and have him killed. Like that's his
Yeah.
whole story. There's no other thing.
Yeah.
So it's bare bones enough that it works because you don't have to think too hard about it, I think. They're just,
Sure.
going for brutality, physical intimidation. I did like I did feel he's more believable in a, I'm going to shed the suit and get nasty kind of way, get down to my wife beater and my A-frame and go at it with Daredevil. I think Michael Clark Duncan always looks physically intimidating.
Right.
Especially when he's less than dressed. Just think about this movie, but also The Green Mile.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, we should. So he's on the screen right now. So Bullseye, Colin Farrell. I think just before he got clean and stuff, he's in his
Hmm.
bad boy era
Yep.
here, and I don't know.
Yeah. What do you
He
think of
he.
Bullseye?
Yeah. I mean, watching it again, I kind of appreciate it. He's sort of, it's very odd, like the ticks or whatever, and
Hmm.
that he's just going to walk around regular places dressed the way he is. He just is clearly absolute insane person, and
Yes.
that works.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he kind of works as like the hired crazy guy. It just, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, yeah,
Yeah. I'm torn because I think he did crazy well for the part that he was written and given, but knowing how amazing he can be now, like, seeing his
yeah.
performance as Penguin, like it's hard not to look back and feel disappointed that he wasn't given something more to work with.
He's come a
Not
long way though. Like,
He as an actor has come a long way, and also I think like background stories for villains have come a long way
yeah,
because they're
yep,
both pretty simple in this story.
yeah,
Kingpin and Bullseye. There's not much there. They are bad guys.
yep, yep. Okay, and then Electra.
Electra.
I wrote somewhere. It's like, let's see. It's my issue. Like I was with um, I was like, Matt, you could. Okay, yeah, I said, Matt, you could have gotten up with that wound. It's like all this stuff, all this like
Oh yeah.
beating he takes, and then like Electra's gonna die, and you gotta. And I don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
To Murdoch at that point, but
Well, she had
I
stabbed
just
him after
yeah,
their fight.
but it wasn't like stabbed him in the heart or something.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I did also
if this
have a
was
note.
Dragon Ball Z, he would have gotten up.
Yeah, I had a note that was like, "Man, you couldn't fight like this when your girlfriend's life was on the line." Because he does get up after she's murdered, and he's like thrown down
Yes.
with Bullseye
Yes.
somehow, and is just fine in the church
Exactly.
post
Exactly.
Electra's murder. Yeah,
I didn't like that.
yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely sense Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's chemistry in this movie. And I think that was, kind of accidentally a great choice. She is great. She looks great in this movie. I think she fights decently well, even though I think the fighting choreography is not probably what I would wish it to be. Um, but again, her character doesn't have a whole lot going on. Everybody's storylines are very simplified in this movie. There's not terribly much complexity. It's, meet romantic foils, we're together, we love each other. Oh, ripped away by tragedy, and now I must avenge my father. Oops, I died in my quest for revenge. And now
Mhm.
I've left
Mhm.
you, more lonely and tortured than ever, but determined to go on. So yeah, so this
Mhm.
this movie is not terribly complex. Again, it all worked in its elements when I originally saw it, but I don't
Sure.
know. It's hard to kind of make complex
Yeah.
judgments on it because it's all very streamlined.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be overly complex to be great.
Yeah.
But I think the elements then that would have to be absolutely great are like fight choreography or something like that. It's like, oh my
Mhm.
god, that was an amazing fight. So like we got from a story that goes A to B that makes sense, even though it's not particularly deep or unique or whatever,
Mhm.
But man, and the getting there and in between was really exciting.
Mhm.
Um, so, but yeah, I thought she did well. Um, they leave us with our, you know, cliffhanger with
Mystery.
her. Oh yeah,
Mm.
she's alive.
Yep.
Um,
Did you
yeah,
ever watch Elektra? I
I
never
have
did.
not.
Okay, I
No,
haven't either. That'd be a fun one to like do
that
a retro
yeah,
rewind and watch.
yeah. Especially being when neither of us has seen it.
Yep.
Now we'll watch it after the series, after Born Again,
Yes.
and yeah.
I
Hmm.
did I did hear some kind of sprinkling of hints that Elektra might be back in Born Again. I'm not
Okay.
sure in what capacity, but I think actually Charlie Cox had said something. Oh, because he was talking about Bullseye. Um, and people were kind of picking apart if he was saying like Electro was coming back.
Hmm. I
So,
like that, as much as it frustrates me. So, like, Jennifer Garner really has the look for Elektra. It's really good.
mhm,
But the character in the series is more what I'm familiar with from like the comics, where
mm,
she's a
yeah.
bad influence. You
Yes.
know, she's a Catwoman kind of thing. She is, you know, there's a heart there, and there is things she cares about, but ultimately gets really selfish. And
Mhm,
so it's one of those things. Like, I remember her showing up in the TV series and thinking, oh man, th- don't do it, Matt. Like,
mm, yeah.
you're getting pulled in the wrong direction. So it's fun here though, that she's, you know just a love interest
Mhm.
and cool and whatever, and you don't have to worry about the
Yeah, I
influence
mean,
element of it.
her selfishness is definitely more mild in the movie. You can
Yeah.
feel her cutting Matt out and being cold, and he's trying to see her, and she like puts up her umbrella, like it's a very Midwestern, if you will, fu. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
passive aggressive more than like you're saying in the TV show. She's definitely like an outright aggressive bad influence.
Yep. They also definitely, in this movie, they really go for the, like, Daredevil he can swing around and jump all
You
over the
move.
place, and like, yeah, he is
Yeah.
he is hardcore parkour.
Everybody
Um,
everybody can though. Like Elektra does it when she flies over to meet Bullseye to fight. Bullseye does it when he's jumping
Yeah.
around the church.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing the like Charlie's Angels unbelievable leaps of gravity.
Yeah. I did think that the CGI held up. Like I wrote in here that
Yeah.
the darkness really helps with the CGI because
Yes,
that
agreed.
was the thing of Spider-Man of the same era. You watch that now, it's
Oof.
like you can definitely see it. Like
You can see the
doesn't
rubber
bother me, but
faces
you
as
can
people
see it.
fall or swing or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, for sure.
hmm And but like this, it really was pretty good because of all the nighttime stuff. So
Yes. The one time I appreciated that this movie, well, I mean multiple times, but that they weren't deep in this like blue light, this like electric blue light I felt was permeating through a lot of scenes. And not
mm,
just with like, not just with Matt's like sonar vision, but I felt like a lot of the other nightscape scenes, there was a lot of like blue tinges to it. And, like you're talking about in the church, especially, it was just like more straight black, which
yeah.
helped.
Yep. Yep.
I do. Speaking of Matt's like sonar, I have to say I wrote this and I thought it was like decently funny, and I also think it's kind of semi true. Um, when early on, when he's like experiencing his kind of vision, the way that it's happening, and it's like this deep electric blue light. I wrote Daredevil's sonar walked so Batman's sonar could run. LOL.
Yeah.
Because they
Yes.
reminded me of that instantly. It was
Yeah.
like an earlier version of the same thing when
Right.
Christian Bale has that whole
Yeah.
technology. It was very
That
reminiscent of that.
has to be destroyed then.
It does have to be destroyed.
Yeah. hmm
But sorry, that was just like a
um.
funny side note that I was thinking
Yeah.
about.
Okay. What else? Anything else here? Like, I kind of feel like, overall, I just had fun with it. It was fun music, and it's like the story
Yeah.
made sense, and it was just there was some comedic elements, and suit looked good. It's pretty
Mhm.
well acted for the most part. Yeah, it was just kind of a fun trip back to 2003.
Yes, it was. It was. I mean, I rag on it a little bit because I do actually enjoy it, and I think there's a lot of fun in returning to, something of your younger years. But also I think you can just sort of see like you could have gotten a little nudge to do a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a sequel. Who knows what a sequel would have done?
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that's Daredevil the movie. Born Again next week.
Hmm.
So, I assume you're watching day 1.
I'm gonna try. I will be out on vacation, so we'll see.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Fingers
I mean,
crossed.
as soon as you can, yeah.
Yes, as soon as I can, for sure.
Yeah.
Like especially because I've just been watching so much of the show.
This is the show now where I'm going to be breaking my like not subscribing to Disney Plus. So, like, I'll be getting
Ooh, look
the
at
trial or
you.
whatever I can do so I can watch this and give it a shot. I know we'd want to
So
talk about it on this, so
Oh, absolutely. Are you gonna watch it so far as it's just this, or are you gonna try to watch Punisher too?
yeah, so that's the news. I guess we can mention that John Bernthal is co-writing a Punisher
Mhm.
special with for Disney Plus. So we'll have like presumably a you know 40 to hour and a half long thing with the Punisher being back.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I, I'm of two minds. Like on one, it's like I'd rather not give Disney money because they've actively done such a thorough job of destroying these things I care about. Why should I give them any of my money? At the
Mhm.
same time, it's like, well, if I if they actually do something good, and I watch the thing that is good,
Right. I'm sending the
they can
signal.
see that, right? It's like it's unfair because like before a streaming service, you could just buy that thing. You're voting
Right.
with your dollars to that this thing is of quality. I am buying it, and
Right. I mean, now you're sort of, I mean, you are voting with, or voting, sorry, like signaling with your dollar, but you're also
yeah,
signaling with your like actual viewing time because that's a metric that
right,
they do track and matters.
right,
So,
yeah. So I'm ultimately like I'm happy that these actors that have played these characters now, like I buy that they actually give a shit about them. And
yeah.
I'm honestly, not that I need to like do anyone any favors here, but and not that me specifically would be, but I'm excited for them if they get to be part of a show again that is maybe continuing where they left off and is in a positive direction, is well
Hmm.
done. You know,
Yeah.
it would be disheartening to be these actors to have to think that, oh man, these character it happens to everybody. These characters I've loved playing and stuff like that. I can't play them anymore. Shows canceled, all this sort of thing. That's normal. But then
Hmm.
like you're coming back and then you see that the version they're giving you is not what you're really for, not really what
Hmm.
you're into. But you got to be professional and do it anyways, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so if they've reversed course on that and like really brought it back to the spirit of the original show, that's cool. That's,
Hmm.
that's something to be applauded. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So will I stick around? I don't. Yeah, no. The answer is no. But like, what I'll do is like whenever Punisher's coming out, well, maybe then I'll do that because I respect John Bernthal too. He said how much that character means to him, and that he'd
Hmm.
only be back if they do that character the way he sees is right. So if
Right.
we believe what he says there, which I guess I choose to, then that means something. The real question is going to be Dustin wants me to watch Andor.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Andor season 2 is coming soon in April.
It
Now, I
is. I
just
just saw a
don't.
trailer released for that.
Yes, yes. Which horrible music choice for that trailer. I don't know what they were thinking. Um, I just don't care about this timeline of Star Wars anymore. I just don't.
Sure.
But there are things like this couple Star Wars video games where they're just other enough that it's like I can pretend they don't exist within this
Star Wars.
timeline. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know.
Sure.
Don't know. But
Yeah, I am. I think the one thing I appreciated about my decision to rewatch, other than just enjoying the content, um, rewatching season 2 did give me the appreciation for the Punisher again. So I am gonna go watch, you know, the TV series, which has long been on my list of things to finish from the Marvel universe. And yeah, I'm gonna get excited for the special.
okay. Okay. Yeah, for the Netflix ones, I liked the season 1 a
Hmm.
lot. Season 2 fell apart, I
Sure,
thought. So,
sure. I will learn what I think.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it did get me re-excited for that character, and appreciate John Bernthal's performance
So good.
because yeah, I mean, he was actually the first Punisher I was introduced to because I'd never seen uh, the movie prior to our
Yeah.
retro rewind, which Chris
Mhm.
thought was blasphemous because it's one of his favorites.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
It's good.
I think I'm
I
going
need
to
to
make
watch
him
the
watch
Ray
Punisher with me.
Winstone one.
Sorry,
Okay.
what?
Yeah, there you go. I need to watch it's Punisher Warzone, I think it's called.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that. Yep.
I need to watch that. Yeah, I've never seen that one. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna make Chris watch Punisher TV show with me. He basically, I think there were like bits and pieces here or there that he wasn't in for, but he got dragged along for the ride as I was rewatching Daredevil. So
okay.
he's pretty in there now.
Okay, nice. All right. that's our Daredevil episode. Well, sometime we'll have to talk more about other Daredevil things. My favorite comic book ever is a Daredevil comic. So,
Ooh, cool. I'm
some of that
interested to hear
stuff.
about that.
Yeah, I kind of reviewed it on here, but it's worth a revisit. Very,
Sure.
very good. So, make sure everybody subscribe to our show podcast directories. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and a bunch of those places. So wherever you choose, we're there. The video version is on Spotify. Killing the Flower wrote our theme song, so you can check them out on music streaming services. And yeah, that's about it. It's been too long of a break, so hopefully we'll be back to more regular cadence here for a while until I get really into work. We got next week should be our anime podcast talking about Sakamoto Days. So we'll have a kind of continuation catch up on those episodes there. And then after that, probably Daredevil, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, Daredevil and or the monkey, depending on if I can get to that.
Daredevil, the monkey, and then we'll be back to probably solo leveling. And then we're going to try, if we can, maybe tomorrow, stay tuned for a fashion episode from the SAG Awards, like red carpet or whatever from a few days ago. So if we can make that happen tomorrow, we will. But otherwise, yeah, stay tuned.
Lots of exciting things coming up.
Yep. Okay. Thanks everybody. Thank you, Mike, for jumping in the chat. That's TrackMouse. TrackMouse34. You can follow him on YouTube or Instagram, and hopefully we'll see him on an anime podcast soon. And Andrea, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.